ZvZ have you played lately? Because I know you're a legend.
No, my games, like I just started getting kicked out of every game and then I quit.
Ah. You got that bad.
Like the game stopped working for me practically. It was very frustrating. Like the game wouldn't load anymore. I reinstalled and I was like, well, I can't be bothered. I don't enjoy the game that much, but it is what it is. All right, enough with the jokes, Wardy. We're here with a 12 pool. No, 13-12, sorry. 13-12 out of Lambo. He did this on the exact same map against Dark yesterday, didn't he?
Yep. He did. Was it hardwire, definitely? I'm trying to think it was hardwire.
I think it was, but I can't recall for sure.
It was definitely the first map, right?
That I do believe, yeah.
Yeah, and it was hard. Yeah, it's hardwire.
Wow. That's kind of big. I like that. I do like that. All right, what are we gonna see here out of Serral's opening up with a hatch first into gas pool? Serral? Sure, yeah, it's gonna be gas pool.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So gas pool, and Serral sits here unaware right now. Obviously, he doesn't really know until his overlord gets to the natural that there's kind of a gas build from Lambo as well, right? So that's when he's going to want to start building a spine crawler right away and going from there. So we'll see how Serral's defense looked. Yesterday, Lambo did pretty well, right? He didn't get like any major connections, but he killed the hatch, he droned behind it, and so he just got into a strong position, and was basically just kind of like the hatchery ahead, pretty much.
Yeah, that definitely. Then he ended up losing his own hatchery, but then I think with a counter-attack he ended up winning, right? Yeah. A lot of the games yesterday ended up with counter-attacks winning for Lambo, which was cool to see. Same on Pride, if I recall correctly. And in a couple of seconds, Serral will be aware of what is going on. Ooh, Lambo is saving up a couple of Zerglings, wants to go in a big round of 6. And with the first 4 Zerglings, I think 2 of those will start to morph into Banelings, if I'm correct. Maybe even more.
He already has 2 on the top side.
Oh, yeah. 3, 4, yeah, these I meant, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, he's gonna get 4 Banes. Wow.
4 Banes right away. Serral knows it's no expansion, so he puts down the spine crawler right away. Walls with his Baneling nest as well, so it looks like he's gonna really focus on defending the main mineral line. Whereas Dark really focused on putting a spine crawler at the front of the main base, right, and to try and maybe come down the ramp. So very interesting. Lambo knows he needs to do something more than just hit the natural and to kill that off because he's invested into this gas. He's going to have Banes in here. I mean, these drones are running around silly. Let's see what Lambo can do as he's on top of the spines as well. He's got a full surround on Serral's first queen. He's going to get it, but remember that Lambo needs to also keep his reinforcements coming through here and keep getting some more damage done. He's not killed drones yet, and he's behind by 7 as he leaves the main base for the moment. He got himself a spine, but that was kind of about it, right? And I always feel like this is the problem with this build. You need to get so much done to be back in a playable spot, and right now I'm just... Like, right now I don't see it, but, I mean, let's see it play out, I guess.
Yeah, perfect response so far out of Serral, who, who's just been doing a perfect defense. Now has 4 Banelings. Even wants to start trying to take his own low ground. He doesn't really need to. There's no hatchery on the side of Lambo. He's still up 7 workers, so... Honestly, best case scenario right now for Lambo is he takes out this hatchery and is down 6 workers. That doesn't sound like a good scenario. Yeah, GG gets called. Serral wins game number 1, and this is kind of a sad start here for Lambo with a prepared strategy. Serral just had the perfect response ready. Second map is going to be Curious Minds, which is a very small map. I'm curious to see if maybe we'll see something tricky out of Serral, or once again Lambo is going to try for some type of attack here. Maybe with again a fast pull, but no, we see the overlords coming out already on both players' sides. As it's going to be most likely just either hatch first or 16 pool here. Lambo has been showing some 16 pool if he's afraid of an early 12 pool on these smaller maps. I think he did it in Berlingrad against Dark yesterday. It's a possibility that it does it again here. But honestly, I'd also be shocked almost if Lambo doesn't take a lot of risk in every single game, right? It just would make the most sense for him to be the one playing risky, because Serral is considered to be slightly better, especially if the games are more standard.
Yep, absolutely. As we get hatchery first, Young Curious Minds, nice short map for map number 2. Serral's top left, Lambo's bottom right. I'm saying that for my own regard because the scoreboard's the wrong way around. I'm gonna get myself confused, so just need to try and focus on that a little bit. But yeah, no, setting up and getting ready for this second game, and just seeing obviously mirrored openings. But on such a short map, you've got to be very ready of all-ins, super quick counterattacks. You can't be caught unprepared because you will very, very quickly fall off from there.
Yeah, On top of that, there's also not like a choky map, you know. Like if you have a timing, you can fight because yeah, there's no chokes here to defend through. Like you can get literally like a 180 degree surround or maybe even more on the third base of your opponent. Oof! Serral popping off one of these what do you call them? Critters? Yeah, nice. You know, you need to click them like 32 times or something like that.
I think it's 15.
While the dogs, you only need to click 16 times.
Oh, there's actually a different number?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just 15.
No. 16 it actually is on the dogs.
Is that just
or maybe I tend to misclick one, that's possible. I'm just consistently misclicking one time. And the cleaning bots is a lot more. It takes a lot of work. So a lot of players, what they have done is they now have their like rapid fire on like a hotkey for the clicking, so that they can really quickly take out these bots when they're being annoying.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I never set up rapid fire for when I played, right? I played some ladder yesterday, and I played against lurkers, and turns out you really need rapid fire. Otherwise, your ghosts just don't shoot them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah, it is quite wild, Wardy. We see a quicker baneling nest here coming out of Lambo. Serral most likely gonna go for an earlier link flood in that case. And will throw down his Roach Warren soon, I can only imagine. So the theory here kind of is that if you keep your opponent on his side of the map, so basically you get the earlier links, that means that you're not going to suffer any of the consequences from him having banelings. And then you can skip your own baneling nest, and you can get your own Roach Warren. Now he's still gonna go baneling nest, but it's really late. Yep. I am confused and surprised.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Baneling nest is definitely not the expectation, but maybe that's part of the mind game, right? Suddenly there's Banelings and Lambo isn't expecting Banes, and maybe he's a bit underprepared potentially. I don't know how that works, because obviously he's already going to make units, but yeah, I mean, there's got to be some reasoning behind it, right? As Serral is coming through, he's going to go towards that hatchery still, and just going back and forth. A couple of Banes still here from Lambo, who is now droning alongside Serral, so they're both going to stick to similar work accounts here, and Lambo again a couple more Banes just to be certain of his defended third.
Yeah, Serral's going to be a bit faster with the Evo Chamber, but Lambo's going to get a faster Roach Warren. Now, I'm not seeing a second gas go down yet for Lambo, otherwise the possibility of something sneaky going on as a follow-up could be there, but instead we'll just see that Evo Chamber. Serral's not going to get the Scout off either, which is nice. Good defense out of Lambo. And he has the Banelings in position. Carapace as the first upgrade. And we see 3 gases being taken here for Serral. Alright.
Yep. As can be seen, our Carapace is going to be a good bit of fun. Just going to go for that kind of Ravager Ling attack, right? So, obviously short map you can get across quickly. We'll see if he wants to commit to it. Obviously, it's kind of a late Carapace, I suppose, to then commit to an attack.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if it's good. Isn't it possible that's going to be like Roachling Bane? But I guess with 3 gas, you might as well get a couple of Ravagers, no? Or you're going to be floating gas? I'm not quite sure exactly how that's going to work out. You already see 5 Roaches on the way for Serral. These feel like defensive Roaches in a way. But it also seems like an odd timing for defensive Roaches. Like it just doesn't make a lot of sense that you start flooding with Roaches now as you're getting your first upgrade. Then why get your upgrade at all?
I think he's going to start making them now, and he's just going to go with as many as possible when the upgrade's done. No? He just doesn't, attack right away. And like Lambo, if he reads this as well, might just say, oh, you're starting to produce Roaches. And like you say, maybe he feels like there's a few defensive, but he doesn't need to know how many are being built. And then you show like 15 all at once, and that's very difficult for Lambo to respond to.
Yeah, that's true. Lambo is also going pretty bonkers in the drone count, by the way. 59 right now. But he has started production. So he has 12 more workers. He still has Lynx in defense, Banelings in defense. Carapace hasn't finished yet, which means that Lambo's Banelings are going to be still pretty useful. There's a lot of Roaches on the way here for Lambo. I think +1 range attack is also going to complete pretty quickly here for him, and he's really going to need that. This is a tight timing that Serral is hitting, Wardy.
Yep, he needs to do something right now. You can see Serral is going to have his own Banelings as well. Lambo has more Banes finishing soon. He kind of wants to make sure these Banes don't crash into all of his Roaches, because otherwise his Roach is going to be hurting a lot. He tries to do the same, but Serral's split was just a little better. Few drones going down, but obviously more roaches coming out from Lambo. This is going to be the issue where these lings show up. +1 missiles moments away, so you can deal with these lings more easily again, but so far 15, 16 drones down. Lambo's already dropping down in workers. Now has an army supply lead, though, and he is the one with roach speed, so he's actually going to be able to chase these roaches down. He should be able to get a few more kills, and maybe that can just be Lambo continuing to make units and just going across the map to win this, because I can see that right now. Like, he has a 20 army supply lead, and Serral's building a spine crawler.
Yes, Serral actually wants to pick up some of the reinforcement with these links right now. Lambo, I think, actually needs to just kind of pull the trigger. He should not care too much about these links, and he isn't. I think, yeah, just using the reinforcements to clear these links and then the main army to push forward. Lambo in a very good position right now. Might just be capable to get himself on the scoreboard here. Still a lot of reinforcements coming in for Serral as well. Desperately trying to get out spine crawlers, more units, and +1 range, but I don't think it's going to be in time. The stutter step of Lambo is good enough. The roach speed is helping out as well. Kind of rotating between the natural roaches and the third base roaches. He's just getting so much damage here. And Serral doesn't have links across the map either anymore. GG gets skulled, and Lambo wins game number 2. Wow.
Yeah, I think roach speed, right, just allows you to pick up so many of those fights very easily as well, for sure. Definitely going along.
Bigger. So, once again, you have these weird builds that can really change things up. It's not going to be the case here. Once again, we see the overlords already being produced in this beautiful split screen here with Lambo occupying the bottom side and Serral the top right.
I hate the split screen only because if I like momentarily forget what map it is, sometimes I'm like, right, he's top left and he's bottom right, and there's like Blackburn or something. I'm like, oh yeah. Or like the minerals are just flipped on some map or something. I don't know, but the idea's cool. I like it.
The idea is very cool. I like the split screen as well, Wardy. I really do enjoy it. Hop, double hedge first. All right. Now let's speculate about this map a little bit, as we're not seeing anything in the early game. I'd say that if I were a betting man, and I'm not Wardy, I haven't ever bought Pokemon cards in my life. I went into a casino 3 times. 2 out of the 3 times, I came out with a win, by the way. I like to believe that I'm the only person in the world that is actually beating the house. I think I'm up about $40 total, and I'm going to keep it like that for the rest of my life. So when I die, that's got to be in the speech on my funeral, you know? Like, he beat the house.
He played the odds all his life, and he ended up beating the house by a crude $40.
Well, doing a lot better than the average player, I can assure you that, Wardy. +40 is a big difference to -500. But if I were a betting man, and I would be down against the house, what I would say is that Lambo might be going into Mutalisk here. Mutalisk tend to be the unit that the weaker player in a matchup uses, the player that is more likely to take more risk, because getting into Mutalisk is pretty risky, and once you get Mutalisk, the game becomes a little bit easier for you, as Mutas are believed to be overpowered in ZvZ by most high-level Zerg players. I'm not actually making this up.
Yeah, I don't know, they hate Mutas. They make life difficult. They're tricky to play against, and they can absolutely catch you off guard. It's something where it's hard to scout to, right? You can't guarantee getting in, and even if you do, sometimes you can be switched up on depending on what kind of mutas it is. So, yeah, mutas have a lot of power.
They say this, where they say they hate Mutas. Everyone hates Mutas until they play against Serral. Then all of a sudden it's their favorite unit. You know, if in the pre-game interview you have a little segment and they say that their favorite unit is the Muta, you know they're probably going to go up against Serral in the next few days. Like, it's pretty ridiculous. They complain all year until they meet Serral. And Serral is, if I was Serral, I'd be getting proper frustrated. And people, the best thing is that they get very frustrated when Serral plays Mutas. It's like, man, he's so much better. Like, why wouldn't he just play standard? You know, like he'll beat us instead. Like, if he starts playing Mutas, it's the same as earlier. It's like, it's really not fair. It doesn't feel fair. So it'd be cool to see Serral throw it out every now and again. But yeah, and he's known to do it as well lately. Back in the day, he really didn't like it. He was the solid roach player, but nowadays he really is switching it up a little bit more. And we'll have to see what's going to happen. Both players opening up with a quick 3 hedge, by the way. I also was kind of worried that we might see some 2 base versus 2 base, or 2 base versus 3 base here, where Lambo kind of forces Serral to pick a strategy and stick with it. This gives you bad odds as Lambo, but it still gives you odds. So it's kind of like making a bad gamble. but very often a bad gamble is better than going up straight up against Serral, because, well, that's not a gamble, that's just a bad situation to be in. 8 more workers going down here for Serral, and Evo Chambers finishing on both sides. Now we're going to see what's going to happen when these first upgrades start. Evo Chamber for Lambo is done, and he's waiting. He's getting 2 more gases in the main base, and he's getting Carapace. Okay, this could be Ravager Ling, right?
I mean, it's pretty much what Serral just did, right? You get Carapace, you get the extra gases, and yeah, you just kind of play like a Roachling kind of time and Ravager. A few Ravagers can morph in as well. So yeah, Carapace pretty much always has to be in that, unless he's going to drop down like a lair, then into a Spire and play like Ling Muta, but then why not just go melee, and why wouldn't you have a lair already, and all of that kind of questions, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions here indeed. And we see 3 Overlords on the way as well, and a bunch of money being saved up for Lambo. 42 drone. Carapace attack is going to be the name of the game here. As the first few roaches are being produced here. +1 is going to finish faster though for Serral, and that could play a role. I think that was one of the big things in that last game as well, is that Lambo actually had a delayed +1 range, which made that push so scary for him. But on this map, the map is first of all slightly larger, and second of all, we have a way faster +1 attack here for Serral. Lambo managed to hold with 59 workers. Serral is already starting to produce units at 54 workers. So, well, I'm kind of feeling Serral's position here, honestly, Wardy.
Yeah.
Gas. This is a fake gas. Fake gas. Fake gas.
Yeah, absolutely. Just want Serral to see it, and then
it worked.
yeah, lots of drones on the way from Serral. That's actually really good for Lambo. Serral going to 6+ workers, and now Serral sees all these roaches. And obviously, he's just made a massive round of drones, so what can you do? He starts 6 roaches, he starts multiple spine crawlers. Lambo's up a lot of supply to begin with, though. 9 additional banelings morphing in. Carapace going to be done in just a few moments, so upgrades will be done on either side, and Lambo is streaming across the map. Serral morphing his own banes as well. Let's see if he can hold on down 20 army supply. First baneling is decent. What I do like for Lambo is he's getting in range of some of these spines right away, so he's going to stop them from coming up pretty much immediately. And now he's actually got a lot of Banes left over, and it's going to be hard to stop those from doing something here as Serral, who's already going to be losing a lot of the drones. There goes the Spine Crawler as well, as Lambo will continue to push up this ramp. And, man, 26 Lings on the way. It's hard to imagine that Serral's going to be able to survive, because those Lings are just going to be a massive blocker for all of Lambo's roaches.
Yeah, this is absolutely game here. Lambo massively up in supply. Serral trying to push out as many roaches as he can, but these Lings dealing a crap ton of damage. A couple of roaches in the back actually annoying Lambo's roaches. And I said this is game, but not so sure now anymore. So Lambo kind of needs to pull out of here. There's a crap ton of roaches all of a sudden here. Well, 5-6 roaches for Serral. There is 8 more on the way. We have Lambo actually transitioning out of it, going into lair. He wants to take out the 3rd base though. And I think he will be capable of doing that. 2 Ravagers on the way here as well. I think if he gets the 3rd base, this is still going to be a favorable situation here. Did Serral actually finish up the roach speed? I don't think he did. He cancelled it, which means that Lambo's army will be capable of retreating here if he wants to. Sadly, there's not much of an army left to retreat with. It really felt like Lambo was just going to walk in there and kill him.
I think he needed to wait. I think he needed to wait for the Lings a little bit more, because he kind of went
26 Lings.
Yeah, because he kind of went with just the roaches, but the power was with the Lings being in front of those roaches. But then when the Lings showed up, he'd already taken a bad fight, and then they fought into the choke of the natural. So I think he should have just backed up, been happy to get the 3rd, and then go from there. Which obviously is scary, because you feel like you can win the game, but I think that's how Lambo really would have just closed it out. As now we continue through, and Serral is going to go into the Mutas and get a few of those on the map.
Yeah, but Lambo is actually just holding down the roach button here. Lambo says, okay, 42 drones, I go roachling, and then my second push is going to be 54 workers with +1, with range, couple of Ravagers on the way. This is going to hit before the Mutas are done. There's constant roach production right now from Serral, which will help. I just hope for Serral that he doesn't start building a big round of drones right now, because he doesn't see any roaches coming from Lambo. He's just saving larvae. You see that? Serral's not quite sure what he wants to do. He's just waiting for the Mutas, and then once the Mutas are out, that's when you can truly start either droning or adding more things. Okay, adds 2 drones for Mutas on the way. I think Lambo might just hit slightly too late, Wardy. Just slightly too late.
The only good thing I can say is that maybe 5 meters isn't as game-changing as if it was like 10 meters right away. I mean, he's got to go basically like right now with roach speed, I guess.
Or even worse, if it would be like 15 mutas. I'm thinking what would be worse than 15 is if there was 20 here. I mean, this game would just be
If
over,
there
right?
was 45 mutas, I actually think he'd be so dead. You know?
Yeah, I mean, what does Lambo even do in that case? I mean, 5 is definitely playable. That's way better than having 8 or 9, in my opinion. All right, Lambo's gonna start moving across the map. He's up an upgrade with that carapace. +2 range hasn't finished yet. The question now is, does Lambo keep producing roaches? No, he's gonna go Queen Drone behind this. Wants to kill this base once again, and ideally also wants to get a couple of drones if he can. He will be capable of getting this base, I do believe. Well, actually...
He's fighting the roaches for now, which is kind of what Serral wants, I suppose. I guess he's just not too interested in getting the base anymore. Maybe he feels like he loses too many roaches and then just gets swarmed if he doesn't trade out. Because obviously if you get the base and then Serral counterattacks with +2 and he's just being spammed roaches, Lambo probably dies. So he tries to trade out. He gets a few drones at the very end, but he's down 20 army supply, so it's going to be tough for him either way.
Yeah. It's going to be extremely difficult here for Lambo right now, who is slightly up in workers, but these mutas have so much potential to just do damage right now, direct and indirect. 4 workers do go down. We see 8 more workers on the way here for Serral, and I think Serral, rather than saying I'm going to push and try to kill you, instead I'm just going to make you believe that I'm going to attack you. You'll be building some roaches, and I'll be droning up at least a little bit behind it, so I'm up in eco. Serral knows he's up and upgrade. He's gonna get carapace right now and start taking out all the overlords on the map and so on. This is just a huge cost to Lambo, who already isn't very rich. I can't really see him taking a fort base anytime soon either here, Wardy, which is an issue.
Yeah, how? Against the meters? It's just not possible, right?
No, it's not.
It's gonna be rough as... did your feed just freeze as well? Okay, I'm back. Never mind.
What's your time?
47? 48?
Same.
Cool.
You're perfect.
Perfect. Nice.
Nice. Ooh, tunneling claws coming out first here for Lambo. No, usually Serral is the biggest tunneling claws abuser in the world in ZvZ. Once the tunneling claws is out, the game truly starts going for him. A couple of our overlords are gonna get caught here in the middle, kind of sloppy and out of Lambo. Queens are trying to come in and rescue it, but with a single transfuse, it's not going to be quite enough. Tunneling claws burrow +2, so perhaps there are some options here for Lambo to get some counter-attack damage going, but I think Serral is just going to push before the +2 even finishes on the side of Lambo. And sure, Lambo has the carapace upgrade, but +2 attack is a little bit better than that.
Serral's gonna have carapace soon anyway. He can just go with carapace and still hit before +2 if he wants to, so... Yeah, Serral's just gonna go. I mean, he's also maxed out, right, so he's like, doesn't really see any reason to wait. Maybe he could wait for carapace, but I think he knows, like you say, he's already got +2 advantage as well, so he looks in. I mean, Lambo has enough to kind of scare this away, apparently, so Serral doesn't commit just yet, doesn't like fighting into that concave, and now the game will go on.
That's a little bit surprising, honestly, because he was just up an entire upgrade, and there was also way more Ravagers on the side of Serral. 3 Ravagers against 8 it was. Now these mutas are gonna pop in again, try to take out a couple of these drones. It's not like Serral is really transitioning into anything better, so this is really the armies that are going to clash, and now Serral just gave Lambo a little bit more time. We have burrowed roaches and we have triple overseers on the way immediately here. So Serral completely aware of what's going on. Spines being constructed. At the same time, we also have tunneling claws on the way for Serral. Pneumatized carapace starts, and Serral's now going into a late game mode. Oh, Lambo! What is this?
He just goes straight across the map. Bowser going to be eaten, and well, he's got roaches on the left side too. The problem is he's getting so heavily swarmed on the right side that fight's so bad for him initially that the idea of just jumping in on this did not work at all. Yeah, I mean, maybe he just thought there was a weak moment, but okay, well, that obviously was not it at all.
Yeah, that was not the fight. It's like lots of tricks there. Usually the gambles are bad for a 2-base player, like percentage-wise. But if you play against someone that wants to play it safe, you can often get ahead anyway. You know what I mean? So if Serral's gonna open up with, what was that? A 12 pool? No, Lambo. 13-12ing. Gas pool. Yeah, sorry. It's because the names are swapped and I was confused. What can I do?
It's okay. Like I said, I called out the split screen. You were for the split screen, but now the split screen is taking you as a victim as well. So.
Yeah, it is what happens. Look at that dog. Click it 16 times and poof, out of your world. Hatch first here. 16 hatch into... If he actually goes for an 18 gas, on a map this small.
He's in trouble then, I think. But
I think, yeah, I think so too.
let's see. I mean, 18. He's a pool.
Actually,
realistically.
is he going to be in trouble? I think he should be in trouble almost, no?
I mean,
Hardwire also is a small map, though.
it's not as small as Bilingrad. Rush distance.
Oh, no, that's true, that's true. You could even mine the minerals, you know that?
It's Hardwire even.
Make it even small.
I do know that. Hardwire's not that small. It's like 36 seconds.
No, it's small.
Really?
I find it small. I don't know. Things happen quickly there.
Oh, no.
So it's keeping 2 in gas this time. I think last time was 3. I could also just be making that up and be computer wrong.
He takes 1 out of gas to make the bane nest. That's how the build works.
Really? You don't put it back?
No, you just stay on 2 gas for bane production. It's the right amount.
Oh, he pulls 1 out. Okay, so this is the
that's
same
different,
build he did against Dark.
Yes.
Because then he only has 2 Banes. Man, there's so many little difference here in ZvZ. That's kind of cool. I like it. Does he completely pull out of gas after the 50 gas? I'd assume so then. Then he can afford the hatchery at some point. So this is really different. And I guess how Serral is supposed to see it is because these links aren't morphing yet into Bane links. And it's going to be like links 7 and 8 that morph into 2 Bane links. So the response should be different. We only see a single spine coming up right here, which probably then is the correct call. Serral ideally wants to try and hold his low ground base as well. And Lambo doesn't want to trade in an inefficient link trade or even an even link trade. It's not what he wants. Lambo just wants to take out this base. He's not going to be capable of doing that before the queen comes out, which might actually make this a little bit harder. At the same time, though, oh my god, that Bane survives.
Yeah, keeps the Bane alive, and now he's got himself the hatchery anyway. So these Banes, they can just wander home, right? And then you've got 2 Banes at home in case of a counterattack, so you don't have to build anything else for a while, in theory. Yeah, keep it. Yes, nice. He's actually going to stay here, though, which I don't even feel is needed, although I guess it stops you from retaking the hatch right away as Serral, which is something that doesn't usually happen. He has to cancel those lings as well. Lambo's carved himself into a magnificent place here already.
Yeah. Keeping the Banes alive is huge because now we need to wait for the spine crawler to come down. That's going to take a very long time because there's going to be creep tumors that need to be thrown down. Ooh, is that spine going to try to burrow on top of this disappearing creep? That would be a big move.
Yeah, I mean, now it's just unburrowed nowhere.
Yeah.
Has to wait for the creep, yeah.
Yeah, 2 queens will push this back eventually. And Serral stills on 20 workers. This is by no means over, but this is a nice position here for Lambo, especially because I wish we could see the unit loss up. I really think he only lost like 2 lings or something like that. This is like the most efficient use of the early game units that you can have. He's also keeping a ling up on the top side. What is that guy doing? What are we doing with that ling, Lambo? Talk to us.
Just scouting, right? Waiting for later.
Just scouting. Scouting for any proxy roach warrants. The classic ZvZ move. Proxy a hatchery in the right side corner to build a roach warren on top of it.
Serral is building a roach warren, mind you. He's got a lot of gas banked up.
Does have a lot of gas. He's mining from 2 gas, dude. 2 gas. What?
I think he's just gonna all in. These overlords finish.
Yeah, but with what? Like 2 ravagers? Like.
Don't ask me. Oh, he's gonna build there. Oh. I don't know.
It's Mia. No?
Oh, just rush me to? Yeah, I guess so.
But it's a fake roach warren, Wardy. He cancelled the roach warren.
Yeah?
He cancelled the roach warren and is now going to Mura. He probably wanted to go for a roach ravager push and then realized he could only afford 1 ravager. It's like, well, that's not really worth it. It's like the worst push of a lifetime. Awful. Awful push. Now we have a very quick lair, though, out of Serral, and he's going to throw down a Spire. Wait, did Lambo see that there was 2 gas? Man, I keep missing when this observer points something out. This observer is a little bit too quick in the brain for me.
It's probably because he doesn't point much out either, so...
Here we go again. Negative Wardy, always bashing the observers. Unbelievable.
Oh my god.
Yeah. +1 on roaches. And Serral's trying to get into the main base, and Lambo's desperately trying to deny these lings from getting into the main base. Spire goes down on the side of Serral. I'm not quite sure why Serral is so keen on figuring out what's going on. It's not like he's going to cancel this Spire, right? Like, this is a pretty set thing at this point. Can't really start your lair at the 3-minute mark of 2 gas on 1 base, then decide to not go into any Mutalisk. I think that would be a rather wild play. We have an aggressive Overseer coming in, so Lambo will be aware of what's going on. His workaround hasn't actually been ahead of his opponents, but he does have a bunch of roaches on the way right now. It's going to be up in army supply. And honestly, if Lambo moves across the map, and he gets to move across the map, Serral might be in some trouble, no? Like, there's still a decent timing window. The problem perhaps being that Lambo can't really wait around. Because if he waits for his +1 and his roach speed, I think he's too late.
Yep, gotta go sooner rather than later. Spine's coming up from Serral to protect that natural. Well, at the very least, as Lambo, you should be able to cancel a third base, right? So that's going to be something you can work towards as he morphs in a couple of extra banelings and continues to power up this attack. He starts a queen behind this too, so knowing that he's going to need some extra anti-out, it would seem. As he sees a link counterattack, though, and he momentarily pulled back to deal with that. Now one roach out in the center is going to be caught. He's going to get the cancel on his opponent's third base, but of course, I mean, that's almost feels necessary to put yourself in somewhat of a decent position about the incoming mutas.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't lose his own third base, though, I think Lambo might just be fine. Especially if these spines end up finishing. Okay, one spine finished. One extra Evo chamber also finished, so really not the worst thing that could have happened for Lambo here. Problem being, I don't really believe he's super aware of the timing of the muta, so Spores might be delayed. Now the Overseer sees it, and Spores should start immediately. I think the queen count is going to be good, though, and a big round of drones is going to put Lambo in a playable position here, for sure. I like this. I really don't mind it. This is kind of what Lambo, I think, was aiming for. I think in the situations that he put himself in, every single time he really got the better end of the trade, right? And the initial early game was good. Now here he managed to clear the hatchery, kept his own hatchery alive. Now he gets the drone up. Every decision he made paid off in some way. Now the question is, were these decisions the correct decisions in the first place? We don't know, but everything he wanted to achieve with these things, he managed to achieve. Tunneling Claws is now on the way, as well as the Burrow upgrade, and we're going for Carapace rather than heavier into the attack upgrades. So that's cool to see as well here for Lambo.
Yep. Just helps against the mutas a bit, right? You have that Carapace, they don't kill things as quickly, so definitely
he gets a bounce.
Yeah, because obviously the glaives, bounce around, so you actually get a lot of value out of Carapace. Same situation in Muta versus Muta, and why you go +1 fly Carapace instead of attacks. So
yeah,
I like him. I like what he's set up. He just needs to make sure he stays strong on this defense, right? If he can just keep himself where he's at right now, I think Lambo puts himself in a very good position. We're about to start harassing with these roaches in the burrow. So yeah, well, that's just a lot of positive things happening at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of positive things, except for this Overlord. This Overlord is dead. That is not positive. I think that Serral just spotted the fact that there's Tunneling Claws, and he starts up his Overseers. I wonder if Tunneling Claws is almost worth it just to get your opponent to start 3 Overseers and be scared all the time. I think it might just be. You see Lambo sending a couple of these roaches across the map. Of course, they're all burrowed. And what Tunneling Claws does isn't necessarily a lot of damage. You can potentially do damage, but it forces your opponent to be a lot more defensive with Muralist than he ideally wants to be. It gives you some time to get into the things that you want to be getting. Like we're seeing right here. We see the, pathogen glands, Hydra Den, and perhaps even a hive at some point. I think Lambo really wants to get a forward base as well in the near future. It's not quite getting it yet. We actually see a Muta split out of Serral. That's cool to see.
Yeah, going for a few different directions, just trying to find damage any way he can. Lambo with his patching glands, like you mentioned, just going to be having those infestors coming through soon, as he's actually getting a bunch of Mutalist kills here. Serral missed Micron, and he's losing drones on the other side as the roaches pop up. And now these Mutas obviously are going to be able to clean this out, but not bad. And there's a few low HP drones still. If we have some target fire here, Lambo has got himself 10 worker kills off this attack, and that's really good damage.
Yeah. Mutas plus the worker kills is a good start. Lambo feels confident enough to start getting a fort base right now. Probably sends a couple of roaches once again burrowed across the map. It really is very frustrating to deal with here for Serral, because what he did earlier is that he split off like 10 mutas for the home defense and then 10 mutas aggressively. But then A, you're not going to be capable of doing a whole lot of the damage across the map with your mutalisk, and B, you also still don't kill the roaches quick enough at home. It feels like that at both sides you're kind of losing rather than at least winning on one side. The 10 drone kills are going to be pretty big. It allows Lambo to kind of stay in this game, I feel like. Now, these roaches are going to get taken out just by these links. So we do see a secondary split, and one roach will survive, I believe, on the mini-map. Infestors are out, however, and we also have 14 hydras on the map. I think this is going to be a Infestor Queen roach push across the map. Oh, Lambo, pull the workers.
No.
Oh, no.
Well, that's undoes a lot of his hard work here, unfortunately, as he dropped 17 drones in an instant. I mean, that always just sucks, right? And just could have been a lot better. Yeah, that's just painful. I mean, he can rebuild them fairly quickly. Right now, he's just building Hydras and Hydras, though, still. So he's just ready to go. He is not going to stop. I mean, just imagine doing this with an extra 15 drones behind it. Obviously, it's so much better. Well, let's see. He might just have enough anyway, because he has got a lot of units moving across. He's got the Infestors to fungal the Banes. These Banes don't have Baneling speed either, right? So they're going to be pretty easy to catch fungals.
Yeah, and on top of that, there's also a couple of Banes in Lambo's army, which I absolutely love, just to kind of zone away your opponent's Banelings. Forcing your opponent to split them makes it a lot harder, of course. Of course, you already kind of just split if there's fungals, but against 2 Banelings, everything becomes a little bit more dicey even. Lambo really isn't taking any damage at home. There's no counterattack, which means he can completely focus on this army control. And that could actually really give some trouble here for Serral. Lambo at 164 supply right now. I think one Hydra gets picked up on the back of that. Queens are moving extremely slow, but once they do reach the creep, they're going to be a little bit more mobile here. I think Serral is in trouble.
I think he is as well. I mean, because what's he going to do? He's going to have to run in. Okay, he does have a fight from two sides. The Bane lanes, oh my god, they're all going to come through. Fungal growth on both sides now. A lot of these Banes do start to go down, and they're hitting Queens, etc. More Fungals on Mutas. We've got one Fungal, and maybe even one more left, actually. And he is going to have Microbial Shroud. That was not what I was expecting to see at all. Lambo with the numbers right here. He will continue to kill this natural as long as he keeps enough anti-air up against the Mutalisks. I think he's just got it with the Queens and the Hydra still alive. It was really important that he got the Banelings, and he just about got it. I mean, I don't know, man. Like,
is the damage output enough? I feel like Serral can almost just engage into this. There's like, what, 2 transfuses? There's freaking 30 Mutas with +2, dude.
Yeah, but okay, but even if it gets cleaned up, Lambo has a lot more coming up at home now, right? So he's already done a lot of good damage. He's put Serral onto just 2 bases, one of which will be mining out, so that's already a tough rebuild. And now that, now that Serral didn't go right away, obviously it gets better and better because you're talking about Queens that are getting energy back, more Hydras have actually joined up. So yeah, Serral, if he was going to do it, had to go pretty much immediately. These Roaches kind of got, I mean, he chose to kind of push them apart from everything else. I'd like to keep a few of them up just in case, as Serral's drones went on a wonder.
There's actually not that many spores here either. Serral could be thinking perhaps of a base raid, but of course also doesn't want to lose this final mining base.
Yes,
just don't think he can really defend it. Ooh, 2 Hydras are going to go down for free here. That's pain.
Catch. Now we're going to jump on the Queens. All of the Hydras are in range, the ones that are doing work, but you're right, this Muta count is pretty freaking terrifying. It will put in work, but he lost the base here, Serral, so Lambo can kind of somewhat just kind of macro up at home, right? And you just sort of turtle up at home, I suppose, the word I'm really looking for. There's one Overseer left. If you got rid of that, that would have been big to keep these Roaches around on the map. A lot more Hydras coming at home. I mean, at this point, you can build Hydras a lot faster than Serral can build Mutas, right? So I think it's enough for Lambo.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
The Muta count is still extremely large. There's no Queens here. The worker count for Serral is pretty decent as well. And I guess the problem really is that there's no third base. But I don't. If the Spire had gone down, which I think it should have, this would have been a whole lot better for Lambo. Now it's still scary. I really believe it's scary because really the only thing you need for Mutas is gas, right? And the mineral income, the fact that Serral doesn't have it is annoying, but there's going to be so many freaking Mutas. Oh, Lambo's going to go again immediately, gets a huge fungal, kills 2 of these Mutas. And when I say huge fungal, I mean 2 Mutas. And gets both of them as well. I mean, that's a lot of money, man.
Yeah. He's really, Lambo's really confident to push forward again. This I wasn't expecting. Yeah,
me neither.
I really believe that if he was going to do it, it was going to be back at home, but he just doesn't want to give Serral the control. It's 14 Mutas against, man, there's 20 Hydras. There's no way. There's no way. Nice fungal on the Bane lanes, and he's going to have now the Hydras to fight the Mutalisks. Is it going to be enough? Yes, it is. Wow. Lambo is going to tie the grand finals 2-2 in this best of 7.
What a banger of a game. Yeah, I was just about to say, I would love to have some guitar. All right, Wardy.
All right.
Here we go.
Here we go. Bottom left will be Lambo. Top right will be Serral. Glitter and Ashes. Maybe it's time for Muta versus Muta even. Definitely possible.
Why wouldn't they put the person that's actually on the bottom also on the bottom of the split screen?
That's way too much work.
It just makes it a little bit confusing.
Look, they don't have my levels of production rate, you know?
Yet.
I mean, maybe next season they'll just bring me on as a producer. And then you'll see some real cool split screen action.
You sometimes do it with 2 PCs at the same time, right? The
yeah,
split screen action.
I did it with War Chest Team League. It was pretty sick, actually.
Yeah, that's very difficult to do. I like that.
It was actually,
All right.
it wasn't that bad for Watch Team League when I was only observing. It was actually pretty fun. It made it more interesting for sure.
All right. What do we have here, Wardy? We have standard openers. Honestly, on Glittering Ashes, I didn't expect anything different.
Same.
And I'm just curious what we're gonna see here.
Yeah.
I'm feeling something funky, you know. If Lambo takes a third base with a Baneling Nest, and Serral does the same thing, I'm going to be disappointed. And there will be audible sounds, you know, that you will hear me being disappointed. There will be noises indicating the fact that not only am I sad, but disappointed, shocked, terrorized by these two Zerg players in a way, you could say, ruining my day. I just want Lambo to pop off a little bit on this map, you know?
But I don't want them to ruin your day, so.
Yeah, same. That would suck.
We're having such a
Today's
good day
only so
until now,
young as
too.
well. Yeah. Now, honestly, I woke up at like 12 and I was like, oh, I missed the first part of Zest versus Dark. And I pop online. I see Wardy as always holding the fort.
Been up for hours already. Yeah. I'm a morning person now.
Yeah, usually I am too, but I had a very tough workout yesterday, and I decided my body required 11 hours of sleep after that.
Me too. I lasted for 2 whole hours, man. Took a lot out of me.
I can imagine. All right, what do we have? We have drones walking to the third base, Wardy. It ain't happening, but it is.
Time to pack it up. Our day's done. Can't believe it. You guys are pissed off Hearthstone. I'm not happy. I'm not casting you anymore.
There could still be something fun though. We're gonna see some banelings, maybe a bigger Link flood on Glittering Ashes. It also isn't really Lambo, is it, to do these Link Bane wars? It's not. He likes being defensive in the Link Bane wars and then be up in drones. I feel like that's really his MO most of the time. He's like, all right, you can send stuff to my side of the map. I'll just have queens there to help me defend. You idiot! I'm stronger here than I am on your side. And then he just is up in drones. So it tends to happen, actually. It will happen a lot in the Lambo Dark series, right? Dark would go across the map. Except on Glittering Ashes, actually, Lambo ended up dying because he got supply block at 58 out of 58 for 35 seconds.
That wasn't pretty.
That really wasn't pretty. One of these sad moments. That was a typical foreigner moment as well, you know?
Yeah.
Many times in my life have I watched foreigners versus Koreans and watched the foreigner open up with a great opener, then to get supply block for 4 minutes in a row and lose the game to an all-in that hit 4 minutes too late. It's like, well, the life of the non-Korean. Being bad sucks. But yeah, it's not the case here. Both of these players are going to be foreigners, of course. We have Roadrunner coming out of Lambo, and he's going into a lair. Takes the gas in the main base, so this is going to be Muta. Most likely. Because majority of the time when you don't go into Muta, you don't take the gas in the main base because it's the hardest to scout. So you always want to show 3 gas to your opponent, if I recall correctly. I'd be very surprised if Lambo doesn't go into Muta from here.
Yep. It'd be crazy to see no mutas at all on Glittering Ashes. That would be almost unbelievable if we actually just get roaches. Like, I feel like at that point when someone says, "Wait, you've not made mutas?" No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make mutas myself then. You know, like there's just no way you don't add a Spire on just to get a few out at some stage. I mean, especially if you just take away map control, right? Take away the vision of your roaches moving around because it's such a big map, it's difficult to track them. Then you can get yourself in a lot of good positions where you're creating fights because your opponent just doesn't know where to be positioned defensively. That's the Spy from Lambo, like we're saying, right? It's just no surprise at all.
Yeah, Serral is opening up with Pneumatized Carapace. Now that is a very weird move if you want to get your own Spire. He's going up to 5 gas already though. Serral that is, but I guess their drone counts are so high. This is both of them are up to 6 gas right now. This is the ideal scenario for Lambo, by the way, where nothing happens until your mutas are out. Like this is the dream of any muta player, right? Is that nothing happens. If nothing is happening, the muta player is winning majority of the time, because the muta player doesn't want anything to happen before the units that he so requires are out. A couple more drones even on the way for Lambo's going to go up to like 74, 75 workers already. You know, his fort isn't even done yet. That does scare me a little bit. Does have very good vision on the map though, knows when his opponent will start attacking. Serral now is going to figure out that there is going to be a Spire, but it's too late. Spire is done already. Enjoy moving across the map with your slow roaches. It's nice that you have +1 on them, but they're just going to hit too late. We see 3 queens immediately in production, and Lambo switching it up. It's going to be 8-9 Mutas into very quick lurkers. Wants to get that big lurker lead, and he just really wants to mute us for a bit of map control, right? It's not going to be your Ling Bane mass Muta shenanigans. No, this is very different. I kind of like it.
Kind of like it. It's what Vanya did against Serral in ESL, I want to say. And this is also very similar to what Lambo did against Serral on this map in the group stages too, if I'm not mistaken. I actually have the video open on my other screen, so I'm going to quickly double check.
All right, nerd, you go figure that out. I'll be talking about the game a little bit, you and your background knowledge.
Okay, it's not the same. Lambo actually just played +1 melee mutas last time, but he did end up on lurkers, I'm pretty sure. I didn't even cast. Yeah, he did.
Was that the game that he won? Oh, double lurker then! It's a timing!
Oh, no, that was the game he lost, actually. He won the first game. He lost that game too. But he got into a very good position. So yeah, this is very cool. Just going to go, like you say, double lurker den. It's a timing. You're going to get both the upgrades and then boom, one big push to try and close it all out.
Yeah, this is... I really like this. He's going to hit with +2, 2 lurker den upgrades. And the funny thing is that Serral right now, look at it, he's getting 3 infestors. He's getting spores. He's getting a second spore in his main base. Ay. Now, infestors are really good, but they're also awful against lurkers. Lambo's already taking the gas before the hatchery even started. This is how committed he is to the play here. Lurkers cost a crap ton of gas. People don't realize this because often you see so many, but in order to get lurkers out, you really do need a lot of gas. And if you're investing more into gas things like a secondary lurker den, double upgrades at the same time, you're gonna need even more gas. And I completely understand why Lambo went up to an insane amount of drones here to try and get that. The fact that his 5th base got cancelled for a little bit and delayed actually might hurt this push. Serral is completely unaware of the fact that something's happening in the main base. Now he's going to scout it. Yeah.
This is the first time he sees it. So he's going to see both lurker dens upgrading, so he 100% will know. But his own hider den only just started up. He's been building, like you said, he built those infestors. They aren't going to do much. He's got a lot of roaches. I think Serral might just say, maybe I can go now, but then, I mean, there'll be lurkers. Even if they don't have the upgrades defensively, they'll be great. Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't work, right?
There's such a timer on your attack, and you can't have a timer on you if you're attacking into lurkers. Like, you need to take your time. And he would need Ravagers to break that. He can't afford building 10, 12 Ravagers right now, because then he's just gonna die anyway. Like, I feel like he's really just stuck in between a rock and a hard place. And no matter what decision Serral makes here, it is incorrect in some way. I like the tunneling clause, and I like the run by that is setting up. That is something that is absolutely correct. But Lambo is prepared. He has a spine, he has the mutas coming back home, and he can lose a lot of workers. As long as his gas income is good enough, it doesn't really matter. Look at these lurkers moving forward right now. What in the world is Serral supposed to do? Well, apparently Vipers is the answer. A couple of spines are coming in as well. Lambo defended this perfectly. Even if Lambo doesn't kill here, he's up 20 workers, has 5 bases with 10 gas. But I'm having a difficult time seeing Lambo not kill this.
Yeah, let's see if the Corrosive Bars can do something. Nice fungal, but he only gets 1 of the lurkers in the end, and now these lurkers can keep on moving a bit further forward, right? Getting in range of this base and in range of the roaches. Vipers are coming through, right? Blinding Cloud's the answer here, because this is only lurkers as well. So if you can Blinding Cloud this army, then I guess the lurkers can't fight at all. A few more bars. Lambo dodges this time. No fungal to help. And he is just getting rid of this base. He's even going to bring his mutas over as he wants to get rid of the Overseer. Maybe even try and get rid of a Viper or so. If he could do that, that would be amazing. Take the the Blinding Clouds away. Even just some of the Abducts. Let's see. As here come the Blinding Clouds, but Lambo can just unburrow and move back out of them, of course. So that works as well. And Serral just letting units walk into the lurkers also. And he's supply blocked.
Yeah, I think Lambo might be doing it here in game number 5. 14 lurkers still alive against 41 roaches. Serral's going to go in for the push. I think 2? This is a tricky fight though for Lambo. It's a good Blinding Cloud. Do we have more Blinding Cloud? I don't think we do.
That's it, man. The roaches have just absolutely melted here. There's just so many lurkers, and the mutas been targeting down the Vipers. Lambo is going to go up 3-2 in the grand finals. Oh man, it might be happening, mate.
It might be happening. The 4-2 is a real possibility right now.
Wondering who takes a gold base and who tries to make that work and who doesn't. Yeah, I mean that's the main thing about Pride, right? It's massive. If you go later, you can talk about mutas again, but it's a map that doesn't go later because of the gold a lot of the time, right? So that's going to be the big question.
Yeah. All right. In the top left is going to be Lambo, and in the bottom right, Serral. And Serral is 12 pooling.
Wow. I mean, that's a play.
That is something. That really is something.
Do you think drone pull as well? And Lambo
No.
takes a gold? Or do you think he just 12 pulls to kill the gold?
Yeah, it's to deny the gold. Lambo is gonna go for the gold.
Yeah, he doesn't need a drone pull actually, just 12 pull.
Yeah, just you just kill the gold. You can drone pull. Serral with the preparation and the risk taking, by the way, because this map, if you're do you see he just put on his headset? What's he doing without his headset on?
You don't need sound, man.
Yeah, needs sound. He's scouting. He's scouting.
Yeah, he
Oh,
wants
he
to know.
sees.
Well,
What's he gonna do with that drone now? Just send it home?
I think he just wants to make sure he knows where to send the lings, right? Because it's kind of awkward if you send them to the gold, then they have to turn to the natural.
Oh, he wants to build a spine, maybe.
Oh,
or what?
yeah, maybe. But I
just
think it's
keeps
fine just
poking
with
in
the
and out.
lings. Like, I don't think he needs like a spine or anything fancy.
Absolutely not.
But
He
just,
checked again. Maybe he wasn't sure. He was afraid that somehow his drone got spotted and it was a cancel. It's a possibility. Unlikely. Serral a little bit doubting himself a little bit, maybe. He's going to be able to get this hatchery. The only way that usually this hatchery survives is through a drone pool. Let's take a look at the face of Lambo as these lings hit. He's going to be very surprised because this is a non-Serral move.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Lambo doesn't move at all.
do you think he just cancel the gold?
Last moment? I think
Yeah,
you
I think you have to, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can't defend it because usually you defend it with a drone pull. Oh, you leave.
Ooh.
Okay, I don't mind this because by leaving it alive, it keeps Serral's lings there for longer, which gives him time to get lings up at home, right, to defend his actual natural.
Does that matter though? I feel like he would have been in time. Maybe he wouldn't have been. Oh. Yeah. I like that he built the Overlord from that base, by the way.
Yeah,
So even
it's
in this
good.
very poor situation, very optimal in his response.
Yep.
And these
Absolutely.
hatchery timings are pretty close. Is Lambo actually ahead? If this hatch doesn't go down?
He's got link speed started as well. I think he has to save this hatchery, though, and that's where he's going to
Yeah.
pull drones. And this is where Serral's obviously going to take a bit of an eco advantage as well, and perhaps can kill drones too. So that's what we're really looking to see right now. Of course, Lambo also doesn't have the lava you'd usually have, because usually you'd have the natural lava as well to help you at this point in time, and that's the issue. So he's got to cancel this, and that's where Serral is going to take his lead for sure.
Yeah, and Sarah's going to try again to get another cancel on this. And not only just trying to force a cancel, but also keeping these drones downstairs is a pretty big deal. That's a lot of mining time lost. Yeah, if that hatchery somehow manages to survive, I actually think Lambo ends up being ahead in this situation. Faster gas, similar drone count,
I think Lambo's going to
hatchery
win.
timing.
I think he's just going to
Yeah, he has to.
Yeah.
Link flood, yeah.
Serral's already blood in the spine. He knows.
Yeah,
Game
it's,
7. Let's go.
it's going to be really difficult for Lambo to do anything here. What he could do is save a lot of links until like 6 minutes into the game. Hope your opponent attacks with a bunch of roaches, then surround them of 12 drones. Or like 18 drones with like 50 links that you've been saving up in your main. You know what that is?
What?
It's a really dumb move that could work, because I don't think this is going to work. We have a hatchery on the gold though, so...
Okay, I like that. We cancel the spine, but
this.
only because Serral hasn't been attacked already, right? So he's saying, okay, well, I can just set up and wall off and be safe. And then I do like the gold base, right? Because, I mean, Serral's not going to have link speed or anything. That roach run wasn't up. But he doesn't have the link count anyway. I know he's got speed, so he could run and get a drone or two, but I do think it's okay if Lambo to just sit here. And, you know, Serral is basically, I mean, he sees the gold base from Lambo coming back online, so he's got to make a decision about what he'll do about it. Because Lambo will get that back online and can work from there.
Double Evo. Okay, he's going to play 1-1 Ling.
I mean, I like it.
Correct call. 100% correct call in this situation, I think. There's no way you're, in a million years, going to win a Roach War. So you need to just win by probably getting a surround at some point when Serral is moving out with an army that is slightly too small. That is what you're hoping for as Lambo right now. And he's going to use the gold as kind of as a bait for Serral. It's like, hey, attack into me. And then all that Lambo is going to do is just build pure links with 1-1 upgrade. So the banelings aren't even going to be as effective. Lambo needs Serral to hit, ideally after the upgrades finish. Because otherwise it's going to be hard. But I don't think Serral is going to hit after the upgrades
Serral's going to Ling
finish.
Bane him, man. He's the Roach Run and +1 missiles is a fake. He's got a ton of Lings, and Lambo doesn't know that. So that's going to be Lambo's issue, that he don't have... He's just so many Zerglings, right? And you can see now he spots how many there are. But what do you do about that? You run around in circles. I mean, the problem's going to be the banelings, and 5 of them
He can
morphing
leave
in
the
already.
game.
You think he can
Like,
leave the game?
Yeah,
He's gonna find the banelings. He finds the banelings. Oh, he doesn't.
Oh, he can find it. Well,
he doesn't
wants
know.
to pick up the reinforcements. Yeah.
He just doesn't know. He's just gonna give up the gold base again. But obviously that's not good. Serral gets his own 3rd base on the way. And Lambo's playing this off 10 less workers too, which was maybe somewhat better if he has the gold, but obviously without the gold. And drones are moving
This
around.
could be the end of the game.
Yeah,
Look at these bangs.
so.
Oh, good response time out of Lambo there, honestly.
Yeah.
Now we have this weird, like, semi-base trady situation, and if there's no banelings on the side of Lambo, this might actually... Oh my god! Serral not paying attention there, loses both of his banelings. Lambo has some potential here. Lambo really does have some potential.
He can do a lot of damage counterattack, and it's going to be difficult for Serral to ever get up to, like, a decent amount of units all at once in his base to defend. Problem is, Lambo's obviously been broken in the front, so he's also going to take a ton of damage, and... Yeah, he's obviously going to do okay over here, but with drones and lings, I guess it'll be enough. Still, banelings for Serral and Lambo is natural too, and the melee upgrades just aren't going to make a difference, right? There's just not going to be enough for Lambo at any point now.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Good try,
Lambo
though.
is bleeding out. If he can hold that wall for a little longer, this could have been a very different game all of a sudden. Lambo really trying to squeeze water out of stone. Is not going to succeed though. Has to tap out as we're going into the final game of the NetEase Esports X tournament here.
Map 7. I'm just excited, man. You want Lambo to win, right? Just, I mean, bias aside, whatever. It doesn't matter. Cheering on Lambo, or are you happy to see Serral win too?
But Lambo are mental.
Yeah,
It would
of
be
course.
crazy.
Yeah, it's just a... We need this, guys. We need a storyline.
Yeah,
I believe.
as well. All right, Game 7. They even have the time at which the game starts.
Yeah,
see
that's
that?
what... Yeah, they update every time. Like, this game starts at 9:35 p.m.
That is so sick. It's even on the top right. I didn't realize that. That's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Really like the production of this tournament. All right. The bottom left spawning as the blue Zerg. It's going to be Lambo. And in the bottom right, it's going to be Serral heading for the gold first with his drone. Wow.
9 games.
Serral has a lot less money though. You see that? See how late it is? Man, ridiculous. I guess
is,
you always go 17 hatch.
It's one of those situations, right, where it's like... It feels as though Serral's just got the confidence to kind of just play it. And it feels like now he's almost controlling. He's like, oh, I don't want... You know, you're scared of going to gold. I'm just going to take my own gold. Very fun.
Yeah, it's very scary when the good players feel like they have nothing to lose, you know? Serral got really close to being dead in this series, and it feel like a switch got pulled that said, all right, if I'm gonna die, I'm not gonna die running away and being afraid, you know? So he goes out there in the open and starts playing the builds that he believes are dangerous to play against and that he hates playing against. He's like, all right, I'm just gonna return the favor right now, and that's when these guys are the scariest, when they're absolutely playing with risk in their games, because it doesn't allow Lambo to go for his regular preparations, which arguably is the thing that Lambo is best at. Is his preparation for each map, is the preparation for the players, knowing the timings, the theory behind every move. And Serral, just obviously a little bit stronger mechanically usually, now is kind of throwing a wrench into that theoretical play out of Lambo. Here come the drones onto the gold. And Lambo is not quite aware of this yet.
Yeah, he knows. He saw the drones transfer.
Ah, okay, he saw it. Okay, well. So now we'll see what his response is going to be. Doesn't start speed.
Maybe he just plays 2 base.
4 queens. It's going to be 2 base.
I mean, there's so many variables in play, but I think I kind of like it, right? Because in theory, it takes you away from any sort of kind of like early Ling kind of fighting and stuff and Ling banning, because you just have a wall off, you know? So it takes away the gold advantage super early, and it kind of draws the game out to a point where maybe the gold kind of gets weathered down or so. So I don't hate it. Goes straight to that lair, and we'll obviously look towards getting his wall off set up, because that's going to be everything he needs to defend against any sort of Lings from Serral.
Yeah, and let's not forget that often in the early game, that if people get the gold, and this gold obviously only has 6 patches, is that your real advantage is early on. Like, you're going to get this big boost, and you want to get aggressive most of the time. And in a way, Lambo is kind of saying, okay, that's not going to be the case here. Like, you can't be aggressive into my wall. Like, you can try, and I would like that, but you can't. But really what I think of this 2-base is that if Lambo gets a good advantage from this, I really like it. However, if Serral gets ahead, then I don't think it was a good call. So really, the kind of that hindsight analysis, I think, is going to be the most important in this situation. Is really figuring out who gets the better end of this deal, and then we can decide whether it was useful or not. These 2 links are going to get taken out in the middle of the map, and Serral takes the first win of this game so far. Carapace on the way for Lambo, and no gas in the main base. So it's just going to be a Ravager link Carapace?
Yeah, I guess so. Serral's going to do the same, though, right? So, very interesting. Obviously, Serral can take the 3rd base right away. That's going to be one of his advantages, having had the link speed a bit sooner. Lambo is holding more drones, but of course with the idea that he's kind of got to, because he's obviously not got the gold minerals in play.
Yeah. I was just looking at it. I was like, oh man, Lambo's really far ahead in income. And then I looked at the income graph and said, wait a second, that's not the case at all. He's up 8 workers, but he's actually mining less minerals. He was mining a fair amount more gas, though, for a while now already. It seems that he really wants to go into these roaches. And double Evo is here.
If Lambo just defends, right, and then counterattacks, because he'll have roach speed and stuff.
The problem that I think is that Serral isn't going to attack into a 2-base Zerg. Why would he? Like, there's no reason to. He's just out-mining his opponent as long as he stays on 41, 42 workers because he has the gold. And that is the annoying thing of the 2-base here, is that usually if you're 42 against 42, you have the same mining. But right now, Serral is just going to be mining a little bit more or an even amount while having less drones. So he can produce a crap ton of units. And that's just what Serral is doing over here. Now, and you could say, well, eventually the gold is going to run out. That's true. And then Serral just sends these workers to his natural. As long as there isn't a 3rd base, there's nothing for Serral. There's nothing that makes Serral stop building roaches at this point. Mutas would have been the only thing, but right now he sees roaches. He knows what's coming. He knows exactly what is happening over here. It's going to be a big roach attack. Carapace on both sides has finished up. There is a lot of roaches, and Lambo is most likely going to move behind this mineral line, at least with a couple of the guys. That could have some potential, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't even consider that.
Yeah, I didn't either, right? That he just builds a lot of units, sits behind the mineral line, and then he just plays from there. Uses this as a chance to get his 3rd hatch up, maybe, if he wants to. Missile upgrade does start. Lambo definitely has intentions of this game going on a while, right? Now the gold isn't mining. He takes his own 3rd. I like it so far. Obviously, for Lambo, there's no reason for him to bake drones because he doesn't have a 3rd base to saturate yet. So he's just going to sit here and wait. And really needs to defend against these links. And he sees them coming, so he should be able to prepare and know how many roaches he wants at home to be able to deal with this.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised, by the way, that Serral decides to not take an alternative 3rd base, in a way, you know? It feels like that would be useful, because constantly pushing these drones from your natural into your 3rd, trying to mine from there, then getting denied, is super costly. I mean, that transfer cost him, like, what, maybe 500-600 minerals there? That probably kind of completely neglected the advantage that Serral got earlier in this game from this gold in total. So Lambo's just ahead at this point.
Yeah, he's really ahead. Oh, lovely bile. Hits a drone as well on the gas. I mean, those drones think they're safe, but this time they are not. An Overseer scouting in, so I was like, are you going mutas behind this? I need to know what you're up to at the moment. So he's scouting, and Lambo is just a little ahead on army supply. Still has roach speed versus no roach speed as well. Not sure if you can take a fight before then and make an advantage of that, but I don't think so. Just something to watch for, as obviously it does give Lambo a bit of mobility advantage at the moment. He's going to go up this ramp. He is splitting up as though he wants to come down from 2 sides. He's even got queens here, yeah. He is absolutely looking to go in a second.
41 roaches against 22. Serral does have a Ravager advantage.
I don't think the lings matter much, though, right? Like, he's got 28 lings. No, if this fight happened, I don't think the lings matter at all. There's just that much roach Ravager from Lambo, but I guess he's waiting for +1 missiles, which is fine. It's going to be even upgrades, and that's going to be the moment where he decides to go. So here we go. Roach Ravager versus Roach Ravager. There is still a lot more roaches from Lambo. He's only 3 Ravagers behind. Let's see how this fight goes as he does get clumped up a bit. He's definitely not in the better concave at all. Serral is, but as he moves forward, that might change. Roach Ravager continues to spread out from Lambo, dodging bars and now moving forward here. Army supply still in his favor just a little bit. Serral moves in and gets a Ravager on that top side, though, and now Lambo wants to do the same. He's jumping on those Ravagers. Serral's queens are trying to help this fight as well, but the advantage is going more and more into Lambo's favor at the moment in terms of the army supply. Can Serral's reinforcements showing up a little bit quicker make the difference here? Lambo dove for Ravager, didn't get it. And now Lambo has to start backing out of here. He'll lose his own Ravagers. Biles will help him, though, and his own reinforcements now showing up. He tries to stand and fight. It is extremely close right now, but the army supplies are evening out, and Lambo might be the one to just lose a little bit more as he's got to kind of trail back, and Serral will be the one chasing. He's getting caught in a slow zone as well. Serral, for now, is defending. I mean, Lambo turns to fight, but now he's got no Ravagers, and he's in a slow zone, and, I mean, he might just about hold on and make this even, but he has to get out of here. He has to disengage.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure if Serral can keep going. One of the advantages that Lambo has is that he still has queens. But Serral right now can start mining from this gold base as he has map control. And this is one of the reasons why Lambo couldn't lose map control. Because now in a low drone versus low drone situation, just means that Serral is massively going to be outmining you. Lambo looks extremely tilted as he just moved back into his chair with a big sigh. And he probably feels very far behind at this point. And honestly, the longer this game is gonna go on, the further he's gonna get behind. Look at the income right now.
Yeah.
Look at the amount of minerals that is coming in for Serral. Yeah, Lambo. I think Lambo knows that he lost, or at least he thinks that he lost. It's still kind of close in roach count, honestly, but every minute that goes down, it's gonna be what, 7, 8 extra roaches here for Serral, and Lambo's going to need to play a very defensive game. I don't quite know if he can do it. I wish we could know if anyone has +2 on the way, but we've been looking at the unit stat for the past 3 minutes.
Yep. That's a classic here next. They want you to be surprised when some units have upgrades and others don't. As, man, Serral's just taking advantage of having Ravagers on the map, killing off all these Overlords as well, right? That's more money that Lambo has to invest into something here as well. It is just rough as the overall roach count is pretty similar here. A couple extra Ravagers from Serral. It's just the fact that, again, over time, he's going to end up with more and more. Lambo has a few lings that have just popped out, so maybe looking to do something with those. Maybe it was just a bit low on gas, I'm not sure, but he's just sneaking in a couple of drones here and there as well. They're both on the way to +2 in sync, but Serral starts to take his third hatchery location. Obviously, that's his 4th hatch overall. But some of these gold minerals will begin to run low. The problem is, Lambo can't really take the gold as his 4th base because Serral has the map control.
Yeah, that's true. But we do see that 3 of these patches were like 200, 250 minerals remaining. So that's actually a pretty big deal. And Lambo did survive to max. The question is, how focused is Lambo still? He looked extremely tilted earlier. He really did believe that he lost. Now I think he's kind of realizing, wait a second, I'm still in the game. I mean, I'm down 5 supply, but this is very playable, and it really is extremely playable. Like, the advantage for Serral isn't huge. Serral does have map control, which is a big deal, like you mentioned. Being able to constantly try to deny these overlords is super annoying for Lambo. But the +2 is finishing at the same time for both players. I think that Serral might try to pull the trigger here, and that could be a mistake. That could be a way for Lambo to get back into this game here.
Yep, Lambo going to take the concave on the bottom of this ramp, and he's going to jump on this army, not caring at all. A few battles already going down. He does eat a bunch of those, now starting to dodge them. He's got a good spread on his units, but he just took so many bile hits initially, man. Serral's army supply is convincing at the moment. Lambo will force him away, but Serral comes out +20, +30 supply. He rebuilds a lot more roaches off the back of this, and now Serral starts burrow as well. I think a lot of that fight was just decided in the first few biles. They hit a lot of roaches immediately.
Yeah, and on top of that right now, not having a fort base to be capable of mining from for Lambo is really starting to hurt him. Serral starts his burrow, tunneling claws will follow shortly, I can only imagine. And it's really funny, both players too afraid to drone up any further, because then the opponent has more army supply. Lambo needs to be careful of these biles. This time does end up dodging them. And has to walk through. He wants to go to the gold base, I think, and wants to push this army back. And Serral isn't confident in his position here. You see that? He's actually giving up the map control for no real reason, because the army supply is so close. You can definitely defend chokes, but Serral isn't buying it. Serral's gonna give up the gold mining as well, and he's gonna start mining from his own base. We have a bit of a roach run by, which could be big. There is burrow on these roaches soon, which will make them even more annoying. I think Lambo is all in at this point. There's nothing else that he can do except win. He gets into a decent concave. Does get a couple of biles as well here initially. I'm not quite sure if this is going to be enough though. Wardy, Serral still completely maxed. Lambo's supply is dropping, takes the hand off the keyboard, and in a very close series, in an extremely close game, we see Serral take it 4-3. And he was pretty happy with that. You saw the little fist bump, and yes! If I'm the correct lip reader. And Serral's going to be the next 2021 champion. Big up to him. Any thoughts?
I'm devastated, man. I wanted Lambo to win so badly.
A nice bias.
It is bias. Oh, we've got actual different music, by the way. I think it felt so close, right? It felt like he had the plan. It felt like it was so close to working, and it was just not enough. It was tough. Serral's really good. I mean, second place is great for Lambo. It just felt like he could go all the way, and obviously, really nearly did.
Yeah, if he would have gotten 4-0 there, he would have been happy with the 4th place. But here,
it's
he
getting
got
so close, right?
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was playing well. He was. Even in this game, there were definitely opportunities and moments where you're looking at it, it's like, well, Lambo's actually like ahead after he denied that gold base. I mean, it feels like that Lambo's in a good spot, and he takes a bad, well, not even a bad fight, but he takes a fight on the other side of the map. The game is still even. Then he takes one bad side on his side, and just that inability to take the 4th base is, yeah, it's starting to kind of pain him in that game. He's going to be going over these mistakes in his head for a long time to come. I can assure you that. If you're this close to a championship and you don't win it, and all of the games that you lost were this close, yeah, that's got to be frustrating.